our programs in the wholesale and retail sector. So I don't know if I can check from all of you that are here, who are doing business in the wholesale and retail sector. Just show by the raise of your hand. I can only see one. Who is doing business in the wholesale and retail? Only one. You can't hear me? My goodness. Organizers, please help me with this thing. Can you hear me now? Oh, all right. Thank you. I was just asking, who is doing business with wholesale and retail? I saw one hand. So all of you are doing businesses with, oh, the second one there? No one over here? Oh, there is a third one. I was about to say when I'm talking, I will just focus on this direction, but it's quite clear that in all these areas, there are people who have done work with the wholesale and retail sector. Like you all know, the wholesale and the retail sector is one of the 21 sectors that were established in terms of the Skills Development Act. And we have been in existence for more than 20 years now, because that was way back in 1999-2000. So at that time, there were 27 sectors that were established. But as you know, as time went on, there were a lot of involvement that happened, and as a result, quite a number of other sectors merged with other sectors. So as we speak at this particular point in time, we have got only 21 sectors. So some of you who have been to various stalls here, in exhibitions areas, you will have noticed some of the sectors that are present. So wholesale and retail sector is one of them, focusing on wholesale and retail. In other words, we are there to make sure that skills development in the wholesale and retail do happen. Other sectors do ensure that skills development takes place in all other sectors that are available, whether it is the banking sector, whether it is the insurance sector, whether it is energy sector, all of them, they are there to make sure that skills development do happen. So the question now is, how do you access our programs for wholesale and retail sector? All right, so that is all you are interested to know today. Am I correct? Fantastic. Look, as the sector, we do provide programs like skills programs, of which a skills programs is a part qualification. It means if you do a skills program, you will be doing fewer unit standards towards that particular qualification, but it will not be a full qualification, depending on the number of credits that each unit standards will carry. But at the end of the day, if you understand the nature of learnerships and skills programs, is that both of them, they combine the theory part, which you do sitting in class through our various training providers. You know that we have accredited to do the training because we just want to make sure in terms of the Skills Development Act that they provide credible training. That is why we have to first accredit them before they can offer training to you. Okay, then you will do those fewer unit standards towards a particular qualification, and once you are done with that, and then you will be getting the statement of results to say you are now competent because you have done the theory in the work, in the class environment, and then have been to the workplace as well to go and do the practical part of it for you to be found competent. Because I think it is critical to make sure that if you are doing something, you must be found competent to be able to do that particular work, which is a very important part around the learning that is composed within learnerships and skills programs. And then if you are doing a learnership then will be a full qualification with a minimum credits of about 120 credits. And then what we then do is that each and every year those of you who goes to this CETA's website, you will see that each and every year there is a process of Annexure 2, which we call workplace skills plan, as well as the annual training report, because companies that are within that particular sector have to report to say what is their plan, and then what is it that they have done in line with the plan that they had from the previous year. And then from there, we will move on to say, let them apply for various programs that we will be having. And those programs will be graded according to the NQF level. It could be NQF level 1, which is a IET qualification, all the way to NQF level 6, and then once they apply, and then they enroll learners to do those programs. So in other words, how do you access them in the first place? Our employers that are with us, once we have done with the advertisement, they will then apply to say, I want to take on 1,000 learners on various learnerships and skills programs. And also there are other programs like graduate placements, because you know that unemployment is very rife in South Africa, okay? So we are saying as well, how can we assist those that are already qualified but they are unemployed? So in that manner then, we provide programs like graduate placement to say, we're giving them an X amount to say, you can take X amount of learners according to the numbers that we will have agreed to the Department of Higher Education and Training to say we will deliver, and then those numbers get then done through our employers who will say, I will take X amount of learners on graduate placement, and also on internships, because internships are very important. We will take learners on internships for these particular programs on board, and then train them so that at the end of the day, they are found to have the necessary experience, because as you know, that if you go outside there, the first thing that they will be looking for is experience. Am I correct? And then how do you get that experience is through such programs. And if you have gone through the learnership program, a learnership program like I explained earlier on, it will mean you are in the classroom getting the theory information, and then go back in the workplace, get that information, go and practice all those things that you have learned about, so that at the end of the day you get assessed and then you are found to be competent. If not, the question that we were addressing, how do you access those learnership programs and skills programs? It is through our employers. Because as CETAs, we don't do training. No? So any CETA does not do training, but they facilitate training to make sure that training do happen in their environment. So if you go to various CETA's website, you will find those adverts, and then you just need to apply to those companies. In our environment, you will be applying through Pick and Pay, applying to Shoprite Checkers, through Truworths, through Woolies, or any other company that will be providing those learnership programs. So that's the first one. The second one is also around bursaries. I just want to dwell more on bursaries as well, because I think that is the critical part as well, to ensure that people do get funding for them to study retail-related programs. So if we're talking about retail-related, we were engaging with the other team earlier on to say, if you think of retail, in retail there are various disciplines that you can follow, because for you to be in a shop, you need somebody who must have recruited you, all right? So that means you need your HR. You definitely need your HR practitioners, in their various categories. We also need people in IT. That is why we are funding programs that are IT related. You also need people who are in SCM, who have studied and are qualified to do SCM or SCM practitioners. So all those things are critical important. You also need qualifications like, for instance, food technologist, So because all those are very important. So we provide those bursaries to say, if you are doing, starting from the lowest level, NQF level 1, AET, if you did not have your matric, you can get a bursary to do that, all the way to NQF level 10, which is a PhD. So we provide degrees, bursaries to do those degrees up to bursaries to do those degrees up to a PhD level. I was just sharing with the other team earlier on to say, this year alone, we were bringing on board people that are going to be studying PhD in retail. And in my provincial office, as an example, I've just administered 6 of those doing PhD. And quite a number of them as well has actually done their PhDs and have qualified. We were also taking on board people that are doing masters or honors level and so forth and so on. So all that I'm saying is that you can have those bursaries that are available. And how do you access these bursaries? In the past, we used to open up can apply. But we have since changed. Now, we are saying to the institutions, please apply. In other words, as an example, I will say to VUT, or rather to all institutions, please apply. And then maybe VUT will then apply to say, I want to take on board 200 learners, as an example. Or UJ saying, I've got 300 learners, or 500 learners. Or Damelin will say, I've got 300 learners. Or GCC will say, I've got 300 learners. So they will apply, and then we will provide funding to them. But the guide that we will give them is that the people that you will bring on board are only people that are doing, that are wholesale and retail related. Okay. However, because I'm talking about WNR SETA, but I'm saying as well, remember we've got 21 SETAs in the country. So if we, that will mean each and every SETA will have the same programs, because we are all entities of the Department of Higher Education and Training. All right. So if you enroll with that particular institution, and then they will then recruit those people that are doing those qualifications, and then based on the on how they qualify in terms of their criteria, and then they will say to us, here are 50 or here are 100, according to the number that we would have agreed with them, to say we are giving you a contract for 100 learners, or a contract for 200 learners, or even a contract for 1,000 learners, to do bursaries. Then those people or those students who will be in that institution doing those disciplines will then have to apply, and then once they've applied, they complete the bursary agreements, programs, we register them in our through our systems, and then they get funding. And the most important thing about our funding is that is the funding that will give you money for tuition. In other words, for all your tuition, it will be paid for. 2, we will pay money for your accommodation. If you're staying in the residential area that has been approved by the institution, we will pay you for accommodation. Okay? And also, we will pay you for food, because we understand need to make sure that you have got at least a stomach that is filled up. All right? We will pay you for food. And we'll also pay for your books as well, of which within that component of food, books, we are saying we will buy you a computer through that. If you need an iPad, we will buy you those things, because at the end of the day, our bursaries needs to be inclusive of all the needs that the student has, so that he succeeds or she succeeds in that particular field. If for whatever reason you are not staying in the rest, and then you need money for transport, we also do provide that as well. However, we cannot provide both. We cannot provide money for transport and money for your accommodation. If you money for accommodation, you will not have money for transport. If we give you money for transport, you will not have money for accommodation. Does that make sense, isn't it? Very clear. Thank you. So those are the bursaries that you get. But the question we're addressing, how do you get them? You first have to be enrolled in your institution. Whether it is a TVET college or a university of technology or a normal university environment, you must first go and apply there and be enrolled, because one of the requirements will be the proof of registration to say, are you really registered in this particular institution for us to be able to take you on board as a student who is getting this bursary? All right. For you to be involved in a learnership, you will need to be employed by that particular employer, either Pick and Pay or whoever that retailer is or wholesale is. Okay. But remember, in these categories, we have got what we call 18.1 categories. 18.1 categories, those are categories for people that are already employed by that particular institution or by that particular shop or store. All right? Because we are saying, our mandate is saying we need to make sure that training and development do take place in the working environment. Okay, as you heard Minister Nzimanda saying that very often, all the time, we must make sure that the workplace becomes a training place. Okay, so for those who are already employed, we do provide funding for them to be trained. And then we've got another category, which is 18.2. So this is when then they will be recruiting people who are unemployed at that particular point in time. Okay, and then once those people are being recruited, we are saying they must be given at least a contract which is in line with the training period. If it is a learnership, it must be for at least a minimum of 12 months. In other words, for the full year. Okay? And what we do provide is that if you are an 18.2 learner, in other words, a learner that was recruited to be involved on either a skills program or a learnership, okay, then we will pay you stipends, okay, for that duration of a period. Normally, if it is a skills programs, it will be for at least 4 months or up to 6 months, or if it is a learnership, it must be for 12 months, okay? So we provide you with a stipend. I know that sometimes if you are unemployed and you get an opportunity by one of the employers saying, come on board, you will do this particular qualification, and then you will think you are now employed. Yes, you will be employed, but for the sake of training, you are there to learn. You are there to get the experience which is most importantly required if you need to be employed. Okay? Number one, once you get that particular qualification, most of the time we speak to our stakeholders to say, please, if you bring in unemployed people, please do us the favor of ensuring that those learners are at least absorbed, or a certain percentage of them are absorbed in the workplace. And we've got quite a number of them that get absorbed through going through that particular program, which is a plus to say, through these programs, we contribute into unemployment, which is very rife in the country. But the key is that over that particular period, if you're a student, then you must please behave in that environment, because for those 12 months, the employer will be observing you. If you've got the right attitude, you know, you are punctual, you come to work on time, and you do all the tasks that you're supposed to be doing, and also you are doing your schoolwork and you're also passing, you know, for them to consider you at the end of the day to say, now we can take you on board. But however, should they not take you on board, all right? Should they not take you on board, but you have got a better opportunity in that now you can go and apply in any other way. I do now have the experience or the exposure that I received through the particular learnership that I was doing. So you are better off than at that particular stage when you did not have a part of experience. So in other words, this is how SETAs, including wholesale and retail SETA, are assisting in ensuring that you get employed in that particular environment. So this is how you access our programs, ladies and gentlemen, through institutions for bursaries or through our employers and also through our providers, because in some of the programs we are saying to our providers, you are also giving an opportunity, as long as at the end of the day you can prove to us to say, where will these learners be placed? Because that is very critical for you to be placed in the workplace environment. So in a nutshell, this is how you access programs in the wholesale and retail sector. Of people coming from Orange Farm, I believe our chairperson was here yesterday to share quite a number of programs that we are doing in Orange Farm. Please be involved in those types of programs, including internships, including bursary and placements, because we want to make sure that at the end of the day, we have got the necessary skills, we have got the exposure that you needed for you to be employed and be absorbed in the sector, to make sure that at least we reduce unemployment. This is one of our key drivers, is unemployment, that we want to make sure that it goes down. Thank you. I can see. Yes, sir. Yeah. Yeah. All right.
We feed 5,000 kids in Orange Farm. Ke fila jwalo, ma ke fila nkare. Yo. Ba masiza kanti lento. How? Babunene. Kanti kunjela. Nexazi like you find theory, so you know. My name is Mr. Jeff Nene, so what we do with retail is that we sponsor a lot of you guys, but mawona transport asokusponsor. Uzele ngeenyawo zakho. But normally, you know, we buy you books and we feed you. So in retail, in essence, what we do is that we are looking at your work ethic. So present yourself as such. My name is Jeff Nene, thank you. Ke fila jwalo man, like ke feel that I've made like you fa was like interesting get this position but see get chest out. That's why abafundisi mafika kule podium bayahlanga hlangana umuntu ukuza kanje uza right. Happy or something. With God, everything is possible. If you believe in God, say God. Say God. Ngara ngaba bishop man like. And the bale bas khuwa bale. Ba tseba ke because amasonto awafani. The moment, let me tell you something. Mina I grew up in Orange Farm. I know. Guys, the moment uba nemali nesonto olihambayo liyashintsha. Thina la ku podium lana samba amasonto a different. Mina bawumasiza umama khatile nobabunene. Isonto lethu lingena for 30 minutes. Done siyahamba. Because bayazi emalini ukuthi time is money. Umfundisi wethu uma ngena uyafika nje athi God is good all the time. And all the time God is good. When I talk about God, I talk about a powerful source. The omnipotent, omnipresent, the giver of life. Everybody say amen. Everybody go home. Ichayile. Ichayile. Orange Farm. Guys, emalini isonto liphuma fast. Jo amasonto wethu kahle sisala Orange Farm. Kunomunye umama awumazi ufuna ukushumayela naye. Uzimisa yena self. Akamele ukubizwa. Hosana. Ebakir. Hosana. Hallelujah. Hosana. Hi Philippine. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa. Hi yo yo. Banna mama we. Makaqeda unesibindi sokuthi ngaphandle kokumosha isikhathi. Hawu. So smoshile mama. Uqule for 1 hour, we won. Must ukuqedile. Jesu namandla. Unamandla. Unamandla. Hololo cabanga esontweni. Awu kamale nkosi malibongwe. Malibongwe. Bese kuyakhala. Yazi leli uhubo leli likhuluma nami. Sifila senana. Satani diabolosi. Empaki moni muluki yantifetsindibe. Yo, you know, that's why dikreke zaruna. Amasonto ethu awaphumi early. Because ubufakazi bethu we won. Guys, thina bona like ne laphana esilungwini ne. When someone aphana ufakazi testimony 1 minute done. Hi everyone. My name is Summary and I'd like to testify about God. God gave me life. God gave me brains to come up with this event and I love him for that. And he blessed me and my kids. And God gave me a beautiful wife. Baby, I love you so much. Thank you. What am I done? Yo, yo, yo. Ya driziki kreke man. Akura batsima batho ba rona. Mama se ba ngene moyeni. Nami ngime. Ngibonga inkosi. Angikhulumi ngenkosi kuphela. Ngikhuluma ngesimakade. Wabona Jesu Kriste o arapelwa nkinna. Ha pare short pen. Yo, ha so kalimeo. Ki intro yeo. Ha ke bua ka Jesu Kriste. Jesu wa magotla. Hosana. Kreke tsa rona ha di tswe. Mara we love them because they refer. And as black people, let me tell you this. Kekopa, next time when you pray bagiti, tandaza ngezulu sagini. Let's see, marish. Mudimus venda wasutwa. we continued. Oh yeah, so like I was saying, guys, that without any further ado, it's what's the way, man. The thing is, I'm quite taking a slow, especially among us. I'm quite yes, sila na utana bangena elensi school wena ukena hona mo radi papi and ufuna ukuthi letha istina sami hey you what are you saying? How to begin stina gasgoa hey yeah what do kalelani unono uthatha istina sami mtshela ke you I want it sekgwa sa trapa and akwati ngesilungu akwateki like cause abona umuntu ne ngezulu uyakwazi ukumphela ngezulu ngicela ungali yabona nto fela cause isintu sethu you can express yourself further ukwazi uku-exaggerate noma igwala umuntu ungamthusela uthi bheka ne ngizokushaya ngenye impamanye ukuhlabe ngayo undize uyele phezulu mawubuya futhi ngithathe ilightning ukushaya ngayo ukunyathele bese ngibiza igandaganda nomuntu uyathuka yo mara kasigwa me up then come and do this limudimu batla language ya henu that guys you know mawufuna uNkulunkulu akuphendule khuluma naye kahle cause thina sikhwele la orange farm nakrapela ka Sotho straight mara mudimu utlwa culture A1 Mazulu obvious cause Batswana Basotho we are too soft no standards Jesu Kriste moluki wa maphelo a rona re kopa ka tenteng enana ho kene mohau wa hao o re hlolofatsa bona mara ntatenene ha ka rapela no modimo a ka araba sibiza we uze namhlanje khona la eKhizani lithakazelo ubizwa yimi umntunga umadleje inja ye game I got this same energy at this session. It will be facilitate you. Bona sgo. A ke re le bone. Ereki bua ka Sotho. Tries the best. Ngeke. Khosi aliphela umoya. The next session will be facilitated by the one and only Chief Executive, Mr. Masiza himself. He'll be leading the conversation with our lovely, beautiful sister, Mekhatile Nkala from Tita. Without any further ado, let me welcome them on stage. Thank you.
Dumelang. Sanbonan. Abuti ke be ke impressa wena ke re ndi machelo ba re ndi masiar. Isivenda siyakhulumeka. Good afternoon. Asiritla mixa le sekgowa. Ke nna le utlile ba re ke nna Mekhatile from Transport Education Training Authority. It is our love and passion that has made us to partner with Ntate Masiza from EmpowaWorks, to have what we have here today and the days before today, but for the whole week. And our passion is to see our youth improvega empilweni zabo. So I'm going to share with you what we do at Transport Education Training Authority. We call it TETA. So that you can have an idea of how, when Dade does not want to pay for you because you said you want to do anything in transport and he's from wholesale retail, I'm going to share with you how we actually partner with him and other sitters to help you, our youth. I want to send sincere apologies from our acting chairperson of the board, together with his board. Some of them have been coming, but you will see them as the week progresses, to come and share with you what we do at TETA, but to also come and support you. Some of them have walked the road before you, as they were the youth. Apologies also from our Madam Chief Executive Officer, Mem Mapifo Ano from Pong, who together with the executives will join you tomorrow and the rest of the week. At TETA Transport, we look after everything that's in the transport. So the skills that are in the transport, as different and as vast as they are. So I will tell you what skills we offer and what skills we look after, and how you, importantly, can be able to access facilities that we have in the transport sector, so that you can, if you have not carved your niche, if you haven't decided what you want to study, at least you can be able to choose what you want to study. But if you have already embarked on your learning journey, at least you can know how to supplement what you're studying and maybe start to specialize later in your studying life. And if you are already in internships or starting to go into the workplace, I will then share with you what we do to support you so that you become a very skilled person in the transport industry. So the transport industry is very broad. So anything in transport. So we've got transport up in the air, so we call it the aviation area. We call them chambers. So I didn't want to use that language. But we've got transport in the air, so we've got pilots, we've got engineers that look after the transport in the air, and we've got other skills that support that type of transport in the air. And we look after those. For example, people who will tell the flight which flight path to choose. People who will look at the weather patterns for the pilot and tell them, today you will be going into the eye of the storm. So those type of skills, we support those individuals to be who they get to be in the transport sector, supporting that aviation industry or aviation area. The other one that we look after is transport in the sea. So those big ships that you see transporting goods all over the world, that we got to see and actually understand, maybe unfortunately when we had the floods in KwaZulu-Natal about 6 weeks ago. That's the first time you saw, I call it the tanker, that big container floating. So the container goes into the ship, the driver of the ship, the engineer that maintains that ship, and other skills that support that ship, we look after, or we fund those type of skills. There are also boats, and there are young people who we train to become skippers. They call them skippers. So I'll use the word drive, those small ships. So those types of skills are very rare, and because of our history, we were made to believe that we cannot and are not capable to be able to do those skills or become skillful in those areas. But today we are here to tell you that it is possible. We can do that. We also have transport, rail transport. So the Gautrain, the trains, we've got drivers of trains that we put in their training, and we've got engineers and all the other skills that support that train to be able to ferry passengers. Those skills we support and we train people to be able to be train drivers. You are aware that train drivers, especially black train drivers, but most importantly, female black drivers are very rare. It's also one of that we are not able to do or we are not capable, but at Transport Education Training Authority, we can showcase our young women that have been trained and that are train drivers today, that were able to come out as train drivers because of the support that we on the road. So our buses and our taxis, I'm sure you know scholar transport, but we also have motorbikes. So the transport that ferry goods, transport that ferry passengers, we need us, and we need some support skills that support that kind of transport, that we look after you. You are aware that truck drivers, especially female black truck drivers, are very rare. It's also one of those that we also believed ourselves that even though we take code 10 as the easiest way to get your license, but to drive that long articulated truck, even today, we do not have those big numbers that we want to see. But at Transport Education Training Authority, we have trained young black women to be truck drivers, and we've partnered with a lot of employers who have brought in those articulated, better driving trucks for our young women to drive those trucks. So that just gives you, I think, a broad spectrum, an idea of the type of skills that we support at Transport Education Authority. Now, let me tell you how you can benefit as you are sitting here. I believe most of you may still be in school, some may actually have finished school, but you are trying to find, what can I do? It does happen. So we offer bursaries, higher education training. So you may want to so what we call support functions. Finance, we support those because any transport entity or business or company requires a person who works with people because they're experts in working with people. Those are HR people. They also require people who are experts in finance, people who are experts in buying or procuring. So we offer those kind of bursaries to our young people. We also offer bursaries for the skills now that we call core skills of the transport sector. So if you want to become a pilot, you want to become a train driver, you want to become a skipper or a truck driver, we offer bursaries. And how to access those bursaries, you go onto our website or follow any of our Twitter handles, any of our handles, Facebook or Twitter, any platform that has got, you will find how to apply. So I apply for those bursaries because we do understand that studying is very expensive. And that is why we are here as Transport Education Training Authority to let you know that you can access those kind of funding. So it is up to you. One. Be that one that will access that kind of funding to take your learning forward. We also support what we call learnerships. Now that's, or graduate internship. That's for those who may have finished their matric and finished their undergraduate degree or diploma, and they want to gain work exposure. And you know why it's important to gain work exposure? Because everywhere you go for an interview or you want to go into an entity, they will ask you, and their expectation is that one. So they will ask you, how much experience do you have?
Just hold on. Guys, that side, security and ushers, can we make sure that we listen, colleagues, that side? That side? Because you are now disturbing us. Kopa, the ushers, and let's make sure that we are all in one accord. So sorry.
No, not a problem. Thank you, Dr. Masisi. For you to gain that experience that employers are looking for all the time from you, but you haven't had that experience or that exposure at the workplace because you were doing your degree and it never allowed you space to be able to gain that exposure. We have internships and graduate placement programs and learnerships. So how you access those is that we support all the employers in the transport sector through funding so that they are able to fund and get on their workplace and train you and give you exposure. So you see, we partner with people. So we partner with airlines, we partner with Prasa, if I want to call names, but all the companies that are in transport so that they can be able to have funds, young people who will require either learnerships or graduate internships. And that's the part that Ubaba spoke about from wholesale and retail. That you find that you have done your course in your diploma, but you need exposure to be able to qualify. So that is why that employer is very important to us. And that is why we partner with that employer and fund that employer. And sometimes we even run the employer and say, come, you need to get funding so that you can open young people and give them exposure. And when they're in that employer, getting that exposure, be that one. Differentiate yourself from all others so that they spot you as the talent. And they can want to keep you because it's all about competition. And I was once sitting where you are, and you may not believe it. Let me stand here so you can see. Short as I am. Many years ago, I was once a student many years ago. But those days, the artisanship, the internship was not there. But I was that one who went and asked, can I just do admin work? That's the best you could. So when I speak, I always say this story. My first job, where I was studying, was to leak envelopes and close them. Inside the envelope was the admissions letter to a student who was admitted to come study at University of Natal. That was my first admin job. I was not paid. I was that one who was later, and I stayed at the university after my studies for many years. And I worked at admin, and I progressed to work also in the residence. So be that one. Differentiate yourself from others so that you can, and all of you are able to do it. You are capable. That's why we are here, to tell you this message, and you need to believe in yourself that you are able to do it. The last part that I want to share with you that we have done and we've broken ground, and I'll say very quickly, I think that Masisa is here to signal that I must get off the stage, is entrepreneurship for young people. So we partner with wholesale and retail SETA, for example, and bank SETA to find you and make you an entrepreneur in moving goods through motorbikes. So you are aware very quickly that during COVID, when you could not move, and we are under hard lockdown all over the world, but goods were moving. First it was essential goods, and then it was goods. And today, that area called e-commerce and just the movement of goods all over. Some of it you know Uber, Eats, but you also know the others that you've seen that come from other retailers. Like you've seen the Checkers outfit that's called 60 Seconds or 60-60, something like that. You've also seen Pick and Pay one called ASAP, and the others are following suit. All your big retailers are now trying to find ways to get goods to, and that's where you can come in and be an entrepreneur. Get that motorbike, get the driver's license, and be able to move goods, and be able to have at least some money in your pocket. So when you're a business person, you call it turnover. So you'll have that for yourself. Isn't it amazing? That's what we do at Transport Education and Training Authority. We partner with those that are progressive, that say we would like to make a difference in our communities, in our country. So we have youth, which are people who will be here tomorrow when we are all gone, but will be running the country. And we're hoping that they will be running it successfully. So that's my message from Transport Education Training Authority. I hope that you will visit our stand if you haven't, so that you can get information as to what do we offer, in case you may have forgotten.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Give me 10 minutes, then we're done. Samar, then we'll come and wrap up. I just want to, use the 10 minutes that is it 10 or minutes that we have before we go for lunch. And I guess at the core of why we're doing this is it's not chalk and talk. I think that's the brief. It's industry and opportunities closer to young people. And when we're doing interviews, thank you so much, we then promised the nation and various audiences that this week is going to be a festival of ideas and opportunities for young people in Orange Farm. And that's how we want to be measured. And I guess that's why you want, after here, you could go back to your neighbor, to your parents and say, I spent the whole week, at least in this entire week, I'm being trained to go TETA, there's a bursary, process or application that I'm involved in, or I just got funding, or I got employment, isn't it? I think that's all what you do, again, over and above the knowledge, the inspiration. You want to make sure that you can take something home, again? And I guess bring back to our stakeholders, and these are our key stakeholders. Maybe let me start with WNR-SETA. What is it, maybe 4 things, and I've asked the same question, that WNR-SETA provides. I know that we said they must go to website. Some of them, they will tell you that they don't have data, they don't have access to that. And it's a reality, and I think let's accept that. Ogoti, what is that they need to do this week? Because we are here this week, the audience is here, we're having a captive audience, to access opportunities, especially the informal traders. What is that they need to do? Those that have an interest in the career space within the retail, what is it they need to do practically this week? Do you have a stand? Do you have some of your stakeholders, because I know delivering, some of your implementation partners? If they are not here, can you make a promise that you can invite them to come, so that young people can then have an interaction over and above having an interaction with you as a lead? Let me hear your thoughts on that.
Thank you, sir. Well, firstly, we do have a stand in here. If you go through that particular tent, there is a WNR-SETA stand. It will be available for the whole week. It started yesterday, so for the whole week it will be available. It's there to make sure that you with any information that you will require with regards to the programs that we have and doing. And over and above that, I believe, I wasn't here yesterday, but I believe our chairperson that was here yesterday might have shared with you some of the programs that we are delivering specifically in Orange Farm. We have got a program that we are delivering for entrepreneurs, and we are also about to advertise for one of our programs that we call itemate programs. Itemate programs, maybe some of you who may have participated last year, I think we provided those programs, and then after the training we provided to those SMMEs so that they can be able to use those those vouchers to do whatever they need to do to boost their programs, whether it is going and buying a specific machine or going and to buy a stock, you know, but we do provide those programs. Once that program has been advertised, we will also have more than 100 that will be able to deliver here in Orange Farm, over and above that other program for about 200 SMMEs that we are delivering here in Orange Farm specifically. So when that happens,
Perfect. We can clap. Ningancishane. You know. Thank you so much.
yeah.
Thank you so much.
So all I was saying is that when that happens, it will be great to see 1 or 2 of you or 10 of you or 20 of you getting access to those programs. There are other programs further to that we will be delivering, which is taking that particular training into a higher level, especially for SMMEs, where we are saying we will give you even better vouchers, you know, once we have identified what is the need that you have with regards to your own business that you are doing in retail.
Perfect. I think maybe let's stay there. Maybe give us practical steps for the program that is going to take 200, because the 200 are here. You know, and I want the 200 that are here to benefit, you know. Is the application open? What is it that you need? Do you have capacity in your stand? Can they go there and register immediately so that we know that it's practical, because it's a captive audience. And these are the young people in the cutting edge in business, and they are truly looking for those opportunities. I think, what is it that they need to do when we go for lunch? Must they go to the stand? Must they apply? What is the criteria, so that when we come back from lunch, we can then make the announcement and say, WNR CETA has taken 200 people from this audience, isn't it? I guess that's what you want, you know? I think let's deal with that, and then we'll deal with the second program.
All right. Well, unfortunately, there are processes that we need to implement before we get to a stage of, or to engage on before we implement. So the program that I'm talking about, it's a recently approved program. So we still need to scope that particular project, develop all the necessary documentation around it. Then we advertise. You know, once we advertise, hence I've said the importance, or I accentuate the importance of checking our website, because once that happens, then you can go to our website to keep on advertise there, because once it advertised, that means it's out. Then you can only go to our stands to get information. But once that is at that particular stage, then you will be able to apply and then taken on board, provided you meet all the necessary criteria that will be set for that particular program.
All right. Thank you so much. I think you spoke about an entrepreneurship program that you're running here. Are you opening it up? Can you give us some practice? Want to participate in that program?
Both of them, you know, with CETAs, we end our financial year in March. And then from April, we start with our new programs, and then we prepare for that to be implemented. Both of them are not yet opened for accessibility up until we advertise. So both of those, the itemate program, which I said, that one will be out this week. So that particular program will be advertised this week. And then the entrepreneurship one
it will take a couple of weeks before we finalize it and then we advertise.
Okay. I think what we need to do then, colleagues, make sure that during lunchtime, if we don't have your details, you go to the registration. Make sure they have your details. What would then happen is that once they've issued an advert, I'll talk to my colleagues, to my team, that we then circulate that advert to the database so that you can then apply. Are we all together? Absolutely. It's your responsibility, to make sure that you are in the database. And how I'm gonna test that you're in the database. I'll talk to the team to send an SMS to everyone here. If you don't get an SMS tonight or tomorrow, you come to me and say, Masisa, I didn't get an SMS. Because if you don't get an SMS, it means that you are not in our database. Are we all together? You go to, thank you so much. You go to the team so that what I want us to do is that I want next year when we do this, we report back. Because again, they're making commitments, we report back so that you don't say, I want next year to say, WNR CETA, they've trained 100 young people, 10 of them by owner boxer or by owner spa or by owner this, so that we talk practical solutions. Because opportunities are there, and that's why they are here to present those opportunities. Are we all together, guys? Because I think we do have the cognitive energy or equity to run businesses. Leave Wuriko Orange Farmer, we do have the experience. I was talking to some of the guys that are here. Some of them, they have masters in retail. Some of them have masters in business. And therefore, I was saying to people that we need to take this audience seriously because they've qualified. The only thing that they don't have are opportunities. And I wouldn't want us to create an expectation if we are not going to meet that expectation, because it's my responsibility. I'm coming back. It's my responsibility as the host and as the guy that grew up in Orange Farm. So when I come back on Sunday or Saturday, they can come and give me feedback and say, at least I'm working, at least I'm funded, at least I'm in training, at least I got a scholarship or a bursar, and that's why we're putting so much investment. Isn't it, colleagues? Thank you so much. Okay. The last thing before I move to Auskhatile, maybe you'll then respond on that. Informal traders, because kona machita maning lana abathengesayo ngase mall aba informal traders. What is the program that you have to support them? Do you have a programs? And then what is it that they need to do practically?
Thank you. For informal traders, we do have a program. That's a program that I referred to earlier on, which I called ITAMED. Okay, it's one of those non-pivotal programs that we're going to advertise. In terms of the database that you're talking about, because what you are saying is very important, we do have the database as we speak of people from Orange Farm who benefited from that particular traders, the informal traders. So if you need that database, we can provide it because we know their names, their ID numbers, their addresses, the name of their businesses. We've got that information. They benefited from that particular program. Maybe if this kind of environment continues, I know it has been continuing over the years, maybe the following year when we come, we will be able to say, before you start, here are the people who benefited from this the program in this year, so that you have that database.
The last thing, how those, because you are saying there are people in the database, I guess the question from the young people,
well, remember, this is the database of people who benefited already. Okay. That's right. So we, like I said, you remember earlier on I said we do advertise and either give it to our accredited training providers, like this one for informal traders. We give it specifically to our accredited training providers. And then we say to them, go to this particular area. Like I said to you, 100 of those this year, or more than 100, will all again come from Orange Farm. So we will be saying to that provider, go to Orange Farm and recruit X amount of people that are doing businesses in retail, informal traders. And then once we have received that information, we will just check if these are not the same people who benefited last year, because we know there are quite a lot of you, that are here and maybe others not here, but we do not want to give that benefit to the same person this year and the following year and the other following year, because other people as well make sure that our cake is spread across for everybody to benefit who is doing business in retail. Okay. So this is how we will deal with it. So they will be recruited from here, maybe as part of commitment. Once that has been done, I can even send it to you to say, these are people that we have recruited in Orange Farm that are going to be participating in this training, and they will be able to get these vouchers from wholesale and retail SETA, and they are all in Orange Farm.
Powerful. I think the commitment that we're making as Empower Youth Transformation Week to you, Bantabasha Bas Orange Farm, is that please, as I said, be in the database, but also make sure that you visit our website. It's called EmpowaYouth, EmpowaYouth.co.za. What I will do is that my colleagues are listening and they're here. I hope they're listening. These opportunities that they're talking about, will populate them in our website. There's a tab that is called Opportunity Pavilion. We'll populate it there, but we'll also make sure that we communicate with you. Are we all together? Your responsibility is to frequently visit the website, which is EmpowaYouth.co.za, but also to make sure that you are in the database. There are 2 programs that we'll be bringing after here. Exciting programs that are mainly, there's another one on manufacturing that we're bringing, I think in June 16, which if you are in the manufacturing space, you want funding, you want opportunities, you must also make sure you are in that database. Again, because it is your responsibility and my responsibility to change the narrative here at Orange Farm. Again, because we are known crime, but who are not supposed to be here, rape and all that. Orange Farmer, we need to put it in the map, and it will take you and I to do the things in the right way, And we need to be intentional about it. It can't happen by coincidence. The last thing, and then I'll give it to you. The offer that we're making, and you don't have to answer as the business as EmpowerX, is that we're giving you an offer between now and Friday, to invite some of your implementation partners. Whether they do training, they do funding, they offer vouchers, so that at least there can be something practical if they are there, so that they can do also the recruitment of some of these young people, so that when they go to your stand, is not only information, but it's information that can be converted into real opportunities. Okay, we're giving them an opportunity, guys. Are we all together? So when you go there, at least you can talk to people on the ground who are implementing programs on behalf of wholesale and retail SETA, isn't it? Then we're coming to you, Mayor. You guys are doing an incredible work. And by the virtue that you are here, it truly shows commitment to young people. And I'm happy that the presidency, they were here and they're coming again, and they were just waxing lyrical about TITA. Because I was saying that TITA, has carried this idea from last year. And before TITA, it was, Mefeling Yende. The same question I'm asking, what is that young people must do practical from now to access opportunities that are offered by TITA? I know that, let's leave the website. What is that they can do between now and Friday, so that on Saturday and Monday, they can just wax lyrical to their friends who, what, this is what I'll be doing with TITA going forward.
Thank you, Dr. Masiza.
Shh, Guys, can you tell that crowd that one? A summary. Thank you, Samari.
Okay. We have a table inside the tent there. Just as you enter the tent, short left, on the left. Tita. And that's where we have our people that are there to answer any question that you may have about what we offer. That's the first thing, so that you know what we are about and what we offer. They also have material for you. So remember, be that one. So that material requires you to be able to read, because I mentioned that we have a lot of skills that we offer. Now, one of the skills, or even two, may be what you are after. So read that material, also share with others. So that's the second thing. So look at the material. Then the third thing is our partner. Because I mentioned that you know our results through partnerships that we have with employers in the transport sector. Today we have our partner called The Skills. That is helping us to implement that exciting motorbike entrepreneurship for young people. So we've done this motorbike thing from 2020. It works. So we are in Orange Farm with our Radar Skills partner. You need to register there. Our members there at Radar Skills are sitting with lists. Can be able to get hold of you and contact you and let you go through the steps that are required in terms of training, in terms of getting your license, and in terms of going through training for entrepreneurship and linking you with those that are able to give funding for the motorbike. So it's a process. And be that one that has got resilience to see yourself at the finish line and emerge with a license and a motorbike and say, today I'm transporting these goods because I sat and listened at Empower Youth Week this month of 2022. And we are making a commitment. We are saying to you, we will do it. You heard Natema Caesar says we've walked the journey with him and his team from last year. But we've walked journeys way before last year. So please go to our stall as you enter on your left, Radar as you proceed on your right. You will find them. Thank you.
All right. Nezwele bosis na bofueta ne. You go there, you populate those stands. You know, if you're looking for such an opportunity, you go to the Radar Skills, and then you know, and then they will do the application for you immediately if you're keen on that. Then, if you want to know carriers in the transport space, you go to TITA. They will give you more information around that. What I will want us, is there anything that you want to say before I can open to the audience?
I'm very excited, so I want to encourage you. It is possible. I said to you, I've done this, not with TITA, elsewhere. Before there was even internships and all these youth things that were given. So you can imagine, many years ago. But today, I am even speaking to you and saying it is possible. Be that one.
Thank you so much. Powerful stuff. Ausgatile are be that one. Not be everyone. Be that one. Also Yanzani, also Bopa. You know, there's an English philosophy or an English proverbs or a saying that talks, they call it a butterfly effect. It says, when a butterfly deep down in Amazon, when it flings its wings, it affects a den of lions or a weather pattern in India. In essence, don't despise the days of small beginnings. I guess what she was saying is that you can volunteer, ask a lot of questions, it could be an entry to you to an amazing space. And we started like that. I started like that. I grew up here in Orange Farm. I started like that with the ICANN Foundation. 20 years ago, I was earning 1,500 rand as a coordinator a month. And it was a good money, but I started volunteering. And then I evolved to run businesses. But as I said, don't despise what is happening here. That's why I take this seriously. I just want to maybe take a few questions. Sorry. I hope that the guys who are tweeting, you are tweeting that the two entities are committing themselves, isn't it? Because that will last for life to eternity in the digital space. All right. What is your experience that you had with this incredible organization, so that they can take it home? If you had a good experience, they can expand on that. If you had a bad experience, whether you have sent a proposal, you have sent an application, there's no response, which platform you used, so that they can correct it. Again, I think I want us to be practical. Don't say, "Khona manje mohlana umuntu ufuna uqala ibhizinisi elinjani." Angazi POS. Mara ngikusiza kanjani? Ngifuna ifunding, ngifuna malini? Ngicabanga le 2 meter. Uzokwenzana nge 2 meter? You know, because I need you to be like a sniper. Direct, specific, because we don't have much time. All together, let me take a few questions. I'm taking you, my sister, and then I'm taking you at the back. Let's start with you, and then I'm going that side. We're going to take 2 questions. Or should I take 2 or a set of 4 questions? What would work? 2, man of God. 2. Okay. Let's start with you.
My name is Vuyogazi.
You must direct it to the person opposite.
My name is Vuyogazi. I am directing the question to both the panel. So I have started an academy. I am in the process of creating the academy. What we do right now to raise funds, we wash amadustbin for Iguti. The academy could start. We are starting somewhere. So in this academy, these kids come every day. They learn skills to help them. We are also involving drug addicts. What we do with these drug addicts, we wash these dustbins and we monitor the money we make. The money that we're making is going towards the needs we have as the youth of Orange Farm. We are trying to build something like that. So the other plan that we have is to include the matriculants of Orange Farm, where we offer them driving lessons, because it's what we need, because not everyone can afford driving lessons. So my question is, how can this academy that we are trying to build for Orange Farm benefit with Cheetah? And we also want to add other skills like the retail. We just want to create a house of education that is different from the things we've been offered like Orange Farm. So I'm asking, what is it you can offer as the youth of Orange Farm, this organization that we are starting right now?
Thank you so much. Direct to the point. Guys, one question. We have 2,000 young people here, so we can afford maybe a few. My brother that side. Let rush. Thank you so much, Samari. You have noted that one, Managaruna, Managohai.
Okay, good day. My name is Sam Kambule from BTS South Africa. We are a company in the training and development space. We are based here in Orange Farm Skills Center. Okay. My question one is to WNRCTA is that in terms of your DGs, do you only take the levy paying, or do you also accommodate the non-levy paying entities? Because we are trying to apply this year for your DGs on your system. However, we couldn't go through because we are non-levy paying at WNRCTA. And then two,
let's take one. Just one.
Okay. And then two, TITA. We have implemented TITA 19, TITA 20 contracts with the taxi chamber and we have only empowered 40 young people in Orange Farm. Now, we have applied, like in Tata Sachilo, and we have not been answered to say, what is it in terms of teacher 22, 23? Because now there are a lot of young people here who would want to do professional driving.
Cool.
So, yeah, we have applied. Can you please look into applications, whether it's a flagship in the CEO's office? What is it that we can do with TITA for these young people? We are here to assist. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I wanted a question that side. My sister, you can stand up. Can you help me? Oh, somebody. How see?
Ausukai.
ML.
ML Lapeng.
Dumela.
Thank you.
Bitso la ka ke Dineo ke motsamai. I'm an active participant ko Orange Farm. Isicelo lesi, it's not a question based. Bengisacela babu Jeff from the wholesale, Mama now from Itita. La Orange Farm sinenkinga ukuthi every time whenever we apply online, sometimes we don't get response. We do not know if ever our CVs have landed in the right hands. Besacela nanoma even in a once in a month, nize. Niwe na office or nikete indawo around. Says guti every 831, Tita is coming. We go give an amasive sweat. We are sure guti they have landed in your hands. As pelelang endleleni.
Powerful. Powerful. I like that suggestion. I like because many young people that are saying they're applying through the website, they don't go through, there's no reaction, there's nothing. The offer we're making now as the organizers that if you have your stakeholders that are delivering opportunities and you're recruiting, we have a space that side, both TITA and WNR-CITA. The young people are here, they can do their application because they can do it between now and Friday. We all agree. So that you don't have technical issues or issues around data. Let's take the last question, then we'll come back. Do you want to take a question? Let's give to my brother. Okay, Nyabuya, let's take that, yeah. Let's listen, sorry.
I support Kupia but disability.
Powerful.
Disability. Everything work about our only quality give us our lot.
Thank you so much.
So, give a lot. Genetic Galacavacante, but on 2000 Balata, receive Hoga Balata, 70 Renarinto, Erieta.
Powerful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I hope and I believe and I hope that because this conversation is around multiple digital platforms. I hope somebody from not only the presidency, but somebody from the Ministry of Youth, Women and Disability, they are listening. So that they can just move from wherever they are and come to where things matters, Kokasi. I hope and I pray, but you have planted the seed, you have thrown your ideas, you have thrown your bread upon waters. The rest God will do it, okay? But let's give him a round of applause, a good initiative. Thank you so much. Let's allow our panelists to respond. Maybe starting our Baba.
All right. Thank you, sir. Let me start with Vuyo. Regarding the academy that you are dealing with, to me it sounded more than like what you are doing has to do with services SETA, and also maybe ETTP SETA. So I will encourage you to make sure that you link up with those SETAs as well, because I think you are in that space. However, you also indicated that you want to provide a wide range of skills, including wholesale and retail SETA skills or sector skills. So what we do is that if you want to do any program that is WNR related, you firstly need to make sure that you get a provider which is accredited with us, so that whatever program that you want to implement, we can then link up with that particular provider. Or if you want to be accredited with us as an institution, then you can apply with us directly to be accredited as an institution, so that you can be able to deliver either those skills programs or those learnerships. But I know most people start with skills programs. Then you will be able, once you have received your accreditation, be able to deliver those programs that we will be offering. Of course, aligning that to the DGs that we will have advertised to say at this particular moment, this is the DG that is available. Or if not, you may apply for what we call programs that are unsolicited. In other words, it's you putting together a program and then saying, this is what I want to implement. But that is actually going to be subjected to our processes, to the various committees. Once that gets approved, and then you will be able to implement that particular program towards the end, and then we will walk the journey together with you. Coming to Sam. Sam was very clear to say whatever he's doing is in the training and development space. So again, I will accentuate the need for you to go to the ETTP SETA as well, so that you are the right stakeholder there, other than in WNR. You also ask then to say you do apply for DGs for levy paying and non-levy paying. In all SETAs, stakeholders are actually divided into two: levy paying stakeholders and non-levy paying stakeholders. But remember, if we are saying non-levy paying, we are not just meaning anybody coming from any sector. We are saying they are non-levy paying in that particular sector simply because they are not meeting the threshold. But we do provide funding for non-levy paying. If whatever you want to do has to do with WNR, and you just need to look into the particular criteria that has been set in that particular advert to see if it does cater for any others. If it is not, then I will guarantee you that in your SETA, where it is the services that you're providing, like for instance, the ETTP SETA, you will be classified as a non-levy paying there and have full access to the levies and all the programs that they will be offering. To the NEO, applying online. As the SETAs, as I indicated to the team that I met earlier on, I believe I also accentuated on that as well earlier on, to say we do not provide training per se as the SETA, but we facilitate training to ensure that it does happen. So should it happen in any particular instance that we get a CV, that CV, there is nothing we can do with unless there is a position that you are responding to which has been advertised for WNR SETA, then we direct that to our HR. If there is none, you are just saying, I'm looking for an opportunity, here is my CV, we make sure that we forward that to our stakeholders to say, when you are recruiting, here is another CV to consider that we have just received. So this is how we deal with them in our WNR space. And with regards to my brother here regarding disability, in all the programs that we advertise, we are saying in the disaggregation of those funds, we are saying 4% of the learners that we are taking on board, it must be learners with disability, because that's a mandate. So we have to fulfill that mandate and make sure that amongst those learners that our employers or also providers have recruited, there are people living with disabilities that are part of the particular program. That is how we address that. But further to that, we do have particular programs that we partner with other institutions, like the institution dealing with people with disability, so we have special programs just to focus on people with disability. It depends on them, but quite a number of times we take quite a number of those, as long as that particular disability will be capable to be in a wholesale and a retail environment, because not all of them do fit in that particular area. But as I said earlier on, there are 21 seaters. It may not fit in the wholesale and retail, but you will find sometimes that with Cheetah it fits, or maybe with Bank Seater it fits, with ETDP Seater it fits, with Insurance Seater it fits. So hence I'm emphasizing the point to say, please don't focus on these 2 seaters. There are 21 seaters covering all the sectors in the country. Make sure that everything that you do, it is aligned to that particular seater, and then go into that seater, check what they are offering. Thank you. I'm done, sir, then maybe.
It's your turn, yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Baba. So I will start with Vuyokazi about the academy. So you mentioned you were offering driving lessons. Yeah. So it is in our space, and it is something that we fund to those, we call them service providers, or people who will come forward and say, I have this initiative like you, and I'm identifying the certain community, and we want to offer driving lessons to this particular community. So like Baba Masisa said, it depends on how good you sell your proposition, because you have people behind you that you want to change their lives. So we do look at those type of applications in what we call, I think somebody mentioned the flagship. So those type of projects. And to add, you may also want to look at road safety education when you offer driving lessons, because it is a good package that you can bring to a community, because safety for road users is very important, so that we decrease the numbers of fatalities that we have, whether it's for people who are running and they are hit by trucks and cars, or people who are, cyclists, or just people who are crossing the road. So it's something that you may want to package in there. Ubabu Sam Kambule, thank you very much that you have done work with us previously and in the taxi chamber. At least it's one area where we always work hard to make sure that we see the results in what they do with the community, so that we remove that blemish that is always there about taxi drivers and then operators. So you have applied. So we will go back and look at and find out where your application is. But we are looking at applications at the moment throughout the year, if it is in the flagship area. But if it was in discretionary grants or wherever, the closing date has come and gone. But otherwise, if it was in the flagship, which I suspect, as you said earlier, it may have been, it's something that we will follow up, and we will contact with you. At least you've got a contact in the chamber, because you've held the contract before. So let's have that conversation there. And then Usis Dineo about applications online. I just want to echo what Ubaba has said from wholesale and retail SETA. You remember also I mentioned that we partner with service providers. So you've heard, I've spoken to Usis Vuyokazi and Ubaba. Those are service providers we partner with, who reach out to you and say, hey, we've got this, we've got funding from TITA, and we want to offer professional driving, so they will advertise. So that's the first way of accessing something that TITA offers. But secondly, if we have advertised, which we have at the beginning of the year for bursaries, so then there was a closing date, but, and that's the thing that we work on. Probably we need to relook. You know that, that bottom line at that advert that says, if you do not hear from us, then you know that your application was unsuccessful. So that's the first thing that happens to your application. But it's a good thing that you reach out. That must not stop you from reaching out. Be that one. Reach out and find out what happened to your application if you applied for a bursary. So that's the only time we advertise on our website, and that would be for bursaries. But for internships and all those, remember, we partner with Abosis Vyogazi, Abo Putilapemova, and employers in our sector. Those are the people who will advertise and say we are looking for pilots. You have seen that people, airlines were looking for cadets to train. And if you were not doing science, but others are still coming with more opportunities because we are giving them funding so that they can reach out to you with opportunities and give you those skills in our sector. Ubaba. Thank you. I nearly forgot. Ubaba, about support for people living with disability. We also do what wholesale and retail SITA does. We also add on top of that through special projects, or what we call flagship programs, where we look at support and upskilling people with living with disabilities in any community. And we've done work with service providers. So that's the catch. So a service provider, and if you are one, you need to apply to us and say, I have this proposition. The one that Masisa was saying to me. So write a very good proposition where you identify abantu that you want to improve their lives because they live with disabilities. Tell us how you want to improve their lives and for how long, if it's about skills, and who, if you are partnering with anyone, and if you require any other support from us. Sometimes, depending on what type of disability it is, we have funded issuing of wheelchairs and training in different skills of people living with disability. But the trick is in your proposal that you will provide to us as a service provider.
Thank you so much. Let's give them a round of applause. Is it Sisi? I think it's your responsibility to go to the stand, talk to Auskhatile, and remember they also have to follow certain processes. There are no guarantees. I think so we don't create an expectation. If there's no value proposition, because they have thousands of applications, but at least she can then help you to, follow the right channels, so that you could have a value proposition, but maybe you don't know which channels you must follow. Are we all together, guys? But I don't want you to say, no, mina bengne ideas, you drive abantu abangnega ngemali. Maybe konomunye with a better proposition. And therefore, that's why you are an entrepreneur. It's a competitive space. It's a dog eat dog. So is Sam that side. I think it's the guy, because we don't want to create wrong expectation. But all we are saying is that ngono ufeile ulandele a right process than ungazi ukuthi yini a process right. Are we all together? The other thing that maybe, because we are about to close in 5 minutes, the food is getting ready. What we'll ask is, as the opportunities they come from your service providers, your implementation partners, please do contact EmpowaYouth, because we have this audience. Then we'll take these opportunities and then we'll send it to the database. So all together, guys. So it makes it easy like that. Then you can get an SMS to say they're looking for, people to train, on expertise or skills or good when it comes to driving, or we're looking for this and that. If we can do that, we'll appreciate. At least we'll be an extended marketing arm or sales arm of our partners. So we're all together. Let me take the last 2 questions. Okay, let me take the last 3. Okay, let me take the last 4. Otherwise we'll be here the whole day. Remember, we need to go and eat and then go to industry stages, come back, finish. So by 4 o'clock we're done. There's a guy who's going to be talking about a cannabis or a dacha or intsango economy. Ngoba kunemali enziwa ngensango. Hayi kusibheme mara how. There's a session around intsango economy. Ukuthi ungena kanjani angithi. Niyakuphi manje? Senodla kanjani? Nidla ngavumanga mina. Bathi bayodla ngavumanga. Ora desambeni siyodlane ke if kuvuliwe ke.